Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, base rate went up another 0.5% last week. That was expected. Everyone was expecting rates to go to 4%. So it didn't have too much of an impact on new mortgage rates or long-term money rates. The banks were all pricing in that rise anyway, and indeed rates had dropped a bit the week before. But where obviously it will affect any borrowers are people on variable or base rate trackers. They will feel the pain of that base rate rise. And there are about 2 million people whose fixed rate is coming to an end this year, and they will certainly feel a pinch when they move to the new rate environment. Rates expected to probably have another 0.5% rise by the summer and then sit at about 4.5%, which is completely normal for where they probably should be. Rates should normally sit about 2 to 2.5% above a country's GDP, and our GDP traditionally sits around 2%. So to have a long-term bank base rate of 4.5% is exactly where it should be. We've just got used to those low interest rate environments that we've had for many, many years now, the past 15 years or so. Interestingly, Andrew Bailey, Governor of the Bank of England, did say that they do not think the recession will be as bad as they were predicting in November, and it will be much shallower. And I think we're probably all agreeing with that, aren't we? You go out and about and it feels like life's okay at the moment. We're through January, restaurants are buzzing, people out and about have adjusted to obviously living with higher interest rates, and of course energy bills, aren't they hideous at the moment, especially as we've had such a cold winter, which was something I did warn about last year. It was predicted to be a cold winter, and that was a bit of a concern. So people adjusting, property market stabilising, and that I think makes it really difficult for many people. People generally bank what they're going to do in the property market in terms of buying or selling. A lot of that is driven by consumer confidence. It's the biggest factor that affects the property market. And of course, at the moment, it feels like it's a bit all over the place, doesn't it? There's so much conflicting information. Our media and social media can be very, very negative. But of course, as I sit here every week, I say it's all right. I agreed 2 more deals yesterday. Feels okay. And I think the reality is there are individual differences of what's going on with property, and you need to speak to your local property experts, estate agents hopefully, who will tell you what's actually going on. Get the agent, a property comparison agency site. They produced a report this week showing how different it is amongst postcodes in terms of time to sell. So Hay-on-Wye, that's the quickest area to sell. You can agree a deal there in 31 days. But interestingly, Islington third, 41 days to agree a deal in Islington, and other parts of London were almost double or treble that. So that, I think, shows you how there's such regional differences going on in the property world. And who knows, maybe I sit here in Tunbridge Wells in a lovely bubble where everything still feels absolutely fine, and people move here for a variety of needs-driven decisions: schooling, bigger house, divorce, sadly death. I know it's a lovely part of the world to live in, and I think those needs-driven purchases mean that we're doing absolutely fine. In this country, you might not realise it's called this, but we sell properties traditionally, most agents sell them by what's called private tender. That means the information we have about the property and the price is specific to the seller. The buyer can't find out. We'll often have buyers say to us, "Oh, can you tell me what it went for, or what the previous offer was?" And the reality is that's very closed information until it's exchanged. So we can't without our seller's permission. So it's all very private. A property's out there on the internet. You've got a price on it. You'll make an offer on it. And not the rest of the world won't know how that's going on, which is where agents have more expert knowledge, where they actually know what's going on within their 4 walls rather than what you might see on Rightmove. Rightmove has made everyone property experts, but you don't actually see what things are getting. Well, another way that can be used to sell properties is auction. So in Australia, they do this a lot. You see those house programs where they stand outside the front of the property with a gavel, and they do it literally by auction. But we are moving in this country to a new style of auction called modern auction method. So we do still have those rooms like you see on Homes Under the Hammer, where you'll have the auctioneer standing at the front, bidding. But modern auction method is gaining in its popularity, and indeed year on year it's 13% up if you look at the latest modern auction method statistics compared to last year. So 13% more lots than they had this time last year. But interestingly, few of those lots actually selling, which is perhaps a sign that it's creeping into modern way thinking of selling. So auctions traditionally associated with very poor properties in bad condition, and what we're seeing now is more normal properties are entering into a modern auction method, and therefore sellers might have an expectation of getting a better price, which you might not quite achieve in modern auction method, which means that you might not sell so many. But basically the property goes on the internet, you have a clock running, a bit like eBay, and you get a chance to bid on it. It has a reserve, you can enter your bid. In the final few minutes, it tends to ramp up quite quickly. So yeah, it's been really interesting how that is growing in popularity. It's £450 million sold at auction. Did that child making faces at me? I tell you, yeah, I try and get this done each week before they walk past. I'm a bit slow today, apologies. Yeah, so £446 million raised in modern auction method recently. So it's a sign that it's really, really growing in popularity. I can do it. I'm set up to do it. Buyers just don't really like it, in my opinion, at the moment. They find it a bit confusing, and sellers aren't sure about it either. So watch this space. The minute I do my first modern auction method sale, you will know about it, because I'll be quite excited. Anyway, a lovely property that we've launched under private tender, the traditional way, 2 Wallace Close, guide price 885. It's really lovely, actually. Great free-flowing accommodation, nice and spacious, really secluded garden, and a real box ticker of a house, driveway, nice south side of the town. It's great. So give us a call if you'd like more details on that one. Next week it's half term, so I am off skiing for the week. So won't do my usual vlog next week. I will see you the week after, and whatever you're up to for half term next week, I hope you have a great one. Bye bye.